What's up, guys? Keyshawn and Chia here, back at you with another new Ultimate Universe video. Now, this is going to be a 7,000 subscriber special, because clearly y'all guys were supporting me unintentionally with love and support, and I thank y'all guys truly. I never thought I would reach to 7,000 subscribers up to this point of these months and years. I'm really quite surprised. But this is going to be a 7,000 subscriber special. This is going to be a new what if, and this is going to be what if Naruto was the god of chaos, or was chaos itself. Now, this will be a 18s, well, 18 plus or 18s, no matter what depends on how I go with this. This will also contain sex, war, and maybe a little bit strong language. This is special, so I want to give y'all the special treatment. And also, some of my subscribers that has been subscribed for me for the longest of time will be in this part, in part 1 and 2 and 3, maybe 4, give or take, depends on how I do this. But yeah, let's go. I will be putting in the subscribers who've been there for me from start 1 to all the way finish, and put down the names of who've been supporting me. But also, let's get this started. Now, how we're going to start this off? Well, pretty much we start off with we'll say my subscribers, Dio Brendo, we all know, Lord Dio Brendo, aka Vampire, aka Time Stop User, aka my boy who will hit you with a roller without any mercy. And also, we're gonna start off with my other subscriber, God. We all know him, the special love. We love him with all our hearts, God itself. And pretty much another subscriber, but we're just gonna keep it to those two for now. Pretty much, this is where I, Keyshawn Uchia, is talking with God and Dio Brendo. And pretty much Dio Brendo is pretty much saying, oh, Keyshawn Uchia, the chaos that we have been containing, we should pretty much find a new host for this chaos, as Dio Brendo said. This is where, of course, God agrees upon and says, yes, it must be balance in this world. It must be balance. And we have to find balance. If we don't, then, of course, the world will be destroying itself or be unnatural, unbalanced. Which, of course, this is where I am sitting at the seat and talking to both of them, saying, I agree upon y'all decisions, and yes, we do need to find a new host for Chaos, or make someone a new champion of Chaos, or Chaos itself. Which, this is where we begin to figure out which universe should become the new host of Chaos. Because keep in mind, Chaos is a very powerful thing. You can do a lot of things with it. We all know what it can do. And the fear of chaos is, which I should explain, is the unknown and the power of it, of chaotic energy and stuff. Chaos can be many things, such as the people, violence, or should I say the symbol of love and all that. Without chaos, you could say life can be unbalanced. You could say it like that. But let's continue. Pretty much, this is where we are deciding on which universe should have the power of chaos, or become the new chaos person. Chaos god, or you could say. Or just chaos. This is where we see in the Pacific universe that this universe is a little bit different. In this universe, this is where pretty much Minato survives to the pretty much the thing of the Nine Tails attack, and pretty much Kushina is dead. But this Minato is a little bit different in the whole dance thing. So this is where I decide, and also God and Dio Brendo, that we will make this Naruto the champion of chaos, or chaos itself. This is where we bestow Naruto the power of chaos. Now, this is where Naruto will accept the full power of chaos without knowing that he has the power of chaos as a baby. Now, this is where Naruto eye color will be different, as his eye color, his pupils will be, pretty much, yeah, his pupils will be purple, and pretty much his hair will be a little bit dark orange, dark brown, you could say, and pretty much he will have the full power of chaos, or you could say godly power of chaos, or chaos itself. Now, this is where a couple years will pass, and Minato is a different guy. Not the love and caring father, but more like of a father who's just more like just there of not acknowledging Naruto. Which this will Naruto will become a little bit different in this outcome. Knowing that he has a father, but he will be much more different as he will be more kind of like Sasuke in a sense of trying to get his father approval and this damn right trying to, you know, be more of a, you know, to get his father, you could say acknowledgement and stuff, and get praised, which Minato never paid praise Naruto, even if Naruto does hard training and stuff, and all that. This is where Naruto will eventually will be doing the same thing as his enemy, Kafini, doing Kafiti at the Hokage's thing and pretty much running away and laughing about it. Like starting chaos, you could say. Now, this is where, of course, Minato will catch up with him and give him a nice scolding, telling him that he's very disappointed in him, which Naruto will not give a damn and just walk away from his father. Embarrassing, you could say, just making a whole scene and walking away and not going home that night. Now, later that night, this is where Naruto is pretty much in the trees. Well, pretty much just in the forest, sitting down and pretty much just looking at the night star and saying, man, I just wish my father can acknowledge me, and I wish I was strong enough to, gain his approval and knowledge. This is where, of course, I will appear and pretty much says, hello, which this is where Naruto will get scared and freak out and say, who am I? Which I pretty much smile at him and says, my name is Keyshawn Uchiha. Which he says, oh, Uchiha, so you're from the Uchiha village, which I pretty much says, yes, and also no, kind of way. Which he's pretty much confused about and saying, then, what are you then? Well, are you Uchiha or not? Which, this is where I sit down next to Naruto at the at the forest of the cliff, and pretty much I explain to him and talk to him, and I pretty much says that he has a special unique power in him, and pretty much he's the new Chaos God or the new Chaos, which Naruto says a new Chaos. What is Chaos? Which I explain to him that the new Chaos is basically chaotic chaos. You can do whatever you want, such as create things, create chaotic creatures, and they all be loyal to you. Or you can create life, kill life, you can cause chaos or mischief, you can do all of that because you have the power. Which this is where Naruto thinks about it. And I pretty much explained Naruto that it's his choice to use it for good or evil. Depends on what he wants to do. It's all up to him. Which this is where Naruto is understanding, but not getting the whole concept. But I pretty much tell him it's all up to his imagination. This is where I pretty much get up and pretty much tell Naruto that I will be seeing him soon. And I pretty much disappear. As I pretty much disappear, this is where God and Dio Brando is pretty much talking to me and saying, are you sure it's a good idea to tell him what he really is? Which I pretty much say, it's fine. It's not like he's going to straight up rule the world or anything. Or I could be wrong, which I make a smile. Which Dio Brando God says, I hope you know what you're doing. And they do a sigh of, just do a sigh and pretty much go. And I pretty much laugh it off. Now, this is where Naruto pretty much is thinking about the power of chaos. And he pretty much uses his mind and he creates something. This is where he creates Ichiraba Robin. And he pretty much says, wow, I really do have the power. Which he pretty much eats the robin. He says, wow, this is crazily good. Which he pretty much says, I'm missing something with it. Which he pretty much creates the other thing. And he says, that's better. Now, this is where Naruto begins to mess around with the power and stuff. And this is where he thinks he wants to create. He wants to pretty much have the power like his father. So he pretty much think about it and he gains the power like his father. Just like the flying Raijin technique. Which this is where Naruto tries it out. And he knows how to use it and how to do it without training for the day of his life to do it. and he starts to think more creative, you could say. This is where he thinks of all the jutsus and stuff that he ever learned or taught know about, including the Rinnegan. And he begins to merge it all at once in his body. But this kind of causes the effect of the overwhelming power of kind of draining his chakra. But he pretty much passes out, not die, guys. Don't worry about it. But all the way to the next morning, Naruto wakes up from the forest and he's pretty much a little bit tired, but he feels completely refreshed because due to the chaotic power, godly power he has, chaos, he pretty much has the power to pretty much regenerate he can regenerate and not pretty much die. He can just regenerate and pretty much regenerate a lot of chakra. Or you could say power, you could say. So Naruto's pretty much fine. But he realized that he pretty much create a mirror and looks and he pretty much realized he has the Rinnegan. Which he pretty much trying to figure out how to switch his eyes back to normal, which he does. This is where Naruto also uses his mind, and he pretty much makes himself much intelligenter. So now Naruto is a genius at this point, a prodigy. You could say more smarter than Itachi. So every step in the head, he has it. Pretty much Naruto's being broken at this point. But this is where Naruto's pretty much heading back to his house, and this is where his father is pretty much saying, Naruto, where were you? You pretty much didn't come back home. Which Naruto doesn't say nothing to his father. Well, pretty much says sorry to his father and pretty much just heads upstairs. Which, before he heads upstairs, he tells his father that he's going to become the best ninja out of everybody. Which Minato doesn't say nothing, but Naruto's basically saying, I'm going to become the best ninja out here. Actually, I'm going to become more of that. I'm going to become a god, you could say. Now, this is where we start off with the go all the way to the Cone test, and due to Naruto basically having Nine Tails in Cherokee, he won't fail. And let me explain you why he won't fail. Due to the chaotic power he has, chaos power or godly power of chaos, basically becoming the new god of chaos. The Nine Tails basically can't interfere with his body, or it can't do anything at that matter. Basically, the Nine Tails is caged in Naruto. So if Nine Tails trying to like mess with Naruto's chakra, the chaos energy or chaotic power will basically fuck up the Nine Tails inside. Basically doing the worst to him as nails will nails will be created to basically nail down the Nine Tails. Basically Nine Tails is he's basically nailed to the body. He nailed into the seal, so he can't do nothing. He's basically just motionless. He can't do nothing at that point. So, and Naruto can just take the power without even knowing. But he will find out soon. Basically, Naruto's passes. Now, after Naruto's passing, he's pretty much happy, excited that he passed the test and, pretty much overfilled and ready to tell his father. But first, he heads to Ichiro's to pretty much celebrate. Well, before that, he tells his father. His father's pretty much doesn't say he's proud of his son, but he pretty much says, I'll take you to your favorite food place, Ichiro Ramen, which this is where Naruto's happy and, takes that. And pretty much they have Ichiro Ramen. Now, that night, pretty much Minato is at the Hokage office. Well, pretty much at night, you could say the same thing happens. Naruto pretty much is walking home. And this is where he sees a kid pretty much running with the scroll ceiling and pretty much follows the kid. This is where he pretty much confronts the kid, which the kid pretty much says, oh no, it's Naruto Uzumaki, you know, the son of the Hokage, Minato. Which this is where the kid is scared, which Naruto pretty much calms down the kid and asks him why he has a scroll skilling, which kid pretty much explains that Mizuki said he can pass if he can, bring him the scroll ceiling. Which Naruto is a lot more intelligent, knows that Mizuki is pretty much using this kid to steal the scroll and get the fuck out of there. This is where pretty much Naruto is furious that is happening and pretty much explain to the kid that he can learn the jutsu he wants to learn, but he has to hand it to him once he's done. Which the kid agrees and learn the jutsu he wanted to learn. and it was basically the Shadow Clone Jutsu, Multi Shadow Clone Jutsu, and pretty much Naruto reads from it too, and also learns the original Multi Shadow Clone Jutsu. But since he's truly intelligent, he learns many other jutsus as well, such as the Reaper Death Seal, which you'll learn in a minute why it's so special. He can use it without losing his life. But pretty much, let's continue. Pretty much, he learns a lot more, including, forbidden jutsus. Now, this is where Naruto pretty much um closes the scroll and tells the kid to go home, and he won't get in trouble for this, which the kid does. And this is where pretty much Naruto is waiting for Mitsuki to show up. Which this is where Ruka shows up as original Ken and asks Naruto why is he here with the scroll skill. Which Naruto's about to talk to Mitsuki, talks to Aruka Sensei, and tell him that he's about to confront Mitsuki from stealing the scroll of stealing, until Mitsuki comes in doing the sneak attack, which Naruto, already 10 seconds ahead, already can see the attack, appears right behind Aruka and grabs the shuriken and pretty much just throws it by the side to a tree. This is where Naruto tells Mitsuki to come out, which this is where Mitsuki comes out on the tree, pretty much explaining that being surprised, saying, I'm surprised, Naruto, that you actually catch that shuriken, which this is where Ruka says what's going on, which Naruto is pretty much explaining to Aruka that Mitsuki is pretty much a traitor and he's trying to steal the scroll skilling and go somewhere else. Which this is where Mitsuki, uh, you know, says that it's all true, but he pretty much calls Naruto the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki, pretty much telling that there's a Nine-Tailed Fox in him. And Aruka is trying to tell Mitsuki to shut up, which he's not, and he tells Naruto the whole truth. Now this is where he tells him the whole truth, and Naruto is not even shocked. He's not even fazed by it because he has full control over his emotions. So he pretty much make a little shock face and he says, "Nah, I'm joking with you." Which Mitsuki says, "What?" Which this is where Naruto says, "But I do have something in this matter. I always wanted to try this out." Which this is where Naruto changes his eyes into the Rinnegan and pretty much does the universe pull to Mitsuki. Now this is where he pretty much brings Mitsuki to him, and he pretty much grabs him, draining pretty much almost all his chakra because he's testing out all the Diva Pass. Now this is where he drains his chakra completely, but not killing him, but pretty much draining his chakra. This is where Mitsuki is realized that Naruto's draining his chakra and backs away, but it's already too late. His chakra is drained. Now, before anything else happened, this is where Naruto universe pushes, and before he universe pushes, he tells Aruka to move out the way, which Aruka does, and Naruto universe pushes and pushes Mitsuki to a tree, pretty much injuring him in the process. This is where Naruto tests out the Multi Shaolin Jutsu and pretty much says that he's going to beat the absolutely shit out of him for trying to steal the scroll ceiling and stuff and using a kid. Which this is where Mitsuki's trying to plead for mercy, but Naruto's not having it. And this is where Naruto absolutely beat the shit out of him. Now, as Naruto's beating the absolutely shit out of him, this is where he's pretty much breaking Mitsuki's arms, legs, and pretty much kicking some of Mitsuki's teeth out, and yeah, pretty much just giving him the worst and breaking his jaw. Now, as it's all over, this is where Naruto's about to do the finishing blow until Aruka tells Naruto to, stop it. It's not necessary to kill him, which Naruto pretty much says fine. And he pretty much repairs Mitsuki whole body to full, health, which Mitsuki realizes his body is healed, only to Naruto just to straight up universe push him to a couple of trees, breaking his whole bones and shit again. And Naruto pretty much heads home. As that's happening, Naruto pretty much heads back to the Hokage office, which Minato is there, and he asks Naruto what's he doing with the crow's ceiling, which Naruto pretty much explained that Mitsuki was the one pretty much tricking kid to steal the crow's ceiling, but he brought it back, which Minato pretty much thanks his son and praises him for, handling it by himself, which Naruto smiles and says, "Thank you, father," and pretty much walks home, decided that night that he got praise from his father. Now, next day, pretty much Naruto is waking up, and he looks in the mirror and realizes that he's not quite satisfied of his body, you could say. This is where Naruto pretty much alter his body because he can. This is where he makes himself a little bit taller, makes himself a little bit taller. I would probably say like tall I would say tall like Orochimaru's servant, you could say, with the glasses. I forgot his name, but pretty much like that. He makes himself a little tall like that. Um, he also have his hair a little bit longer, and he also uh gave himself some muscle features, like such as abs, muscles, arm muscles. He looks, ripped like he'd been working out. And this is where he tests out his strength by crushing like let's say like a brick with his own hand, and realize that he has an amazing strength, which he says, I like this power. Which this is what he says. Now this is where he heads to class, and everybody immediately looks at Naruto, and they see that he looks different. And the girls actually looks at Naruto and see him as attractive with his long hair, his hair in a ponytail, and they just find him attractive and stuff. But also, they still is afraid of him because of the nine tails. Because everybody still calls him the nine tails teacher, calls him a nine tails freak. But he doesn't get harassed and like that. But you get what I mean, guys. Basically, this is where Naruto sits down next to Sasuke. Well, pretty much sits down to his seat, and pretty much he's just waiting for the teacher to call out the teams. Now, in canon, all the teams are the same, including Team 7 with Sasuke, Sakura, and also Naruto. Which Sasuke would be different in this timeline because, well, in this universe and timeline, because since Sasuke clan didn't die or get murdered, because since Minato is alive, Danzo never did the whole separation from the Uchihas, and also did the whole, well, you could say never took away the police. Never, Minato never died, so Danzo can't never did the plan of like the Uchiha gets the plane, they have to take the fall, and basically lose their job. So yeah, none of that happens. The Uchiha basically still became the police force, and yeah, and they also got praised instead of like shamed, because the Uchihas actually got recognized and praised by Minato, saying that they did their part of helping out. So yeah, Uchihas didn't get no shit. So Sasuke wouldn't be as edgy, but he will be like a little edgy as I will train hard and all that stuff and all that stuff. But Itachi will join the Akatsuki just to basically be an undercover. So that was still happy, but he doesn't kill the Uchihas. He doesn't kill the Uchihas or anything. But but yeah, yeah. Basically the Uchihas don't get murdered, but half of the Uchihas do get murdered because Obito. So Obito was involved. Itachi didn't do nothing like that, but he did join the Akatsuki. So Sasuke will be a little edgy, but not like 100% edgy of like I'm gonna kill my brother. More like I want to find out why my brother joined the Akatsuki, and why he did all that. Pretty much way. But pretty much Sasuke is looking at Naruto and intrigued of why Naruto looks so ripped and stuff and look different. But pretty much this is where um, Sakura will have a attraction, have feelings for Naruto, even though Naruto won't. Naruto would have a liking to Sakura, but not like a whole like I like Sakura in kind of way. More like a I like her as a pet kind of way. She looks like a pet to me, so I want to keep her as a pet, you could say. But pretty much this is where they're all waiting in the room, and Sakura is now talking to Naruto and stuff, and trying to get to know Naruto. Naruto's pretty much already know it's the Oda, and he's pretty much flirting with Sakura, pretty much saying that he likes her cute hair and stuff, and she's blushing and saying stop, which Naruto pretty much uh lifts up her hair, saying that she has a beautiful forehead, big forehead and stuff, and calling it cute, which she started blushing and saying, "Oh my god," and all that, and about to pass out. This is where Kakashi comes in, and Sasuke, he's doing his own thing, minding his own business, not caring, and she kind of wants attention from Sasuke too, but Sasuke's not giving a damn. He just wants to get strong, kind of way. He's still in that motivation of strong, but not in hatred way. So it's kind of different. But pretty much, this is where Kakashi comes in, and Kakashi sees the whole team, and Naruto looks different, and he pretty much is intrigued of Naruto and Sasuke, and says, interesting. This team is interesting. This is where he pretty much meets him up in the rooftop, and pretty much he does his whole ordeal. Sasuke is a little different. He doesn't have many life hobbies he likes, but he does wants to get strong and fine, and wants to basically find a certain someone, and to pretty much figure out why this certain someone did this. Which Kakashi knows what he's talking about, his older brother Itachi, which Naruto also knows too, because Naruto has been digging around in information about the Uchihas and shit. And also, since he knows he has the power of chaos, he has their, you know, eyes and stuff. So he can pretty much make a Sharingan and shit. So yeah. But pretty much this is where soccer is the same thing. No one cares. I'm sorry for the hate, but yeah, we all know we don't care. But pretty much, Naruto's a little different. He's pretty much saying his likes, many things. He enjoys many things, not really much. And, yada yada. He said, but that's not important. My true goal, no, my reality is to become a god. And pretty much to make true order in this world. Which Naruto's basically saying that. Which Kakashi is intrigued by that. And Sasuke and also Sakura too. But he says that is all. And he sits down. Which, this is where Kakashi says, okay, well, tomorrow's going to be the bell test. Don't eat or you're going to puke. Which, everybody starts heading on their own ways. This is where Naruto pretty much stops Sasuke and pretty much talks to him privately and says that he knows that he's talking about his brother, which Sasuke is shocked and says, what do you care? Which, this is where Naruto says that he can help him get stronger. But for him to get stronger, he asks for him to be his loyal subject. Be his subject. His pretty much bodyguard, you could say. When he doesn't want to, attack anyone. Basically, just be his loyal subject. Which pretty much Sasuke is about to say no until Naruto shows Sasuke that he can turn his eyes to Sharingan into a 3. He shows it. He basically shows him the 1 Tomoe, the 2, the 3, and all the way to like the Mangekyo, and all the way to the Rinnegan. Which Sasuke is like shocked and saying, "How? How can you do this? Are you a Uchiha? What are you?" Which, this is where Naruto says, "I will tell you all later. I will tell you later about this, but right now, would you accept my thing, and I will grant you power to basically do whatever you want." Which, this is where Sasuke, at first he hesitated, but he agrees. And this is where Naruto gives him a gift and pretty much grants Sasuke all the way to 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Which Naruto says, activate your Sharingan. Which, this is where Sasuke does, and he realized that he has 3 Tomoe Sharingans by Naruto showing him it. This is where Sasuke is, quite amazed and thankful for it. Well, not thankful, but amazed. And Naruto says that he will meet him tomorrow for the bell test and tell him the rest of the details later. And maybe give him a little bit more power. Which, that's what Sasuke is striving for a little bit. Like, to get stronger. After that, this is where Sasuke goes his own way. And Sakura is basically following Sasuke, because she has a liking to more Sasuke than Naruto. But this is where she stops and asks Naruto, where's he going to go? Which Naruto says that he's going to do his own thing. And he meets them tomorrow. Which, this is where, and I know what y'all guys are going to say, but ain't Sasuke going to follow Naruto to pretty much see what Naruto's going to do? No, because Sasuke is going to train on his own to get stronger. But now he knows that Naruto will also give him a power boost. So, yeah, kind of way. But let's switch back. Pretty much Naruto heads into a secret laboratory, which he created, keep in mind. and he pretty much has two scientists that he created, and they're pretty much working on the new body. Which this is where Naruto says how's it holding up? Which the two scientists are pretty much explaining that they're almost done with the whole body creating. Well, this whole thing creating. Which Naruto is smiling, saying, "I always wanted a sister. This is going to be the perfect sister I have." Which Naruto says. So when is it going to be complete? Which pretty much the scientist says that it's pretty much going to be day. It's going to be taking like about 2 days for it to be done. Which Naruto says okay and keep up the good work. Which this is where the scientists agree, and this is where they say bye, Lord Naruto. Which pretty much they Naruto already told him that he created him, which he did. Now, and the laboratory is heavily guarded with creatures such as like skeletal monsters, and also like creatures, mythological creatures like a minotaur that like guard it, and many things that guards the area. So if someone does discover it, they're gonna have to fight all those monsters and shit. So yeah, and there's a demon at the final level. So at that laboratory, so there's a demon like actually a devil that like has is stronger than all ninjas. So yeah, keep in mind. But pretty much just where Naruto's heads homes and stuff, and he says he's home. He says his tells his dad he's home, which Minato is saying, "Oh, welcome home, son. I'm gonna go back to the office do some stuff. So already cooked some food and left it there." Which he tells his dad thinks, and he pretty much heads upstairs. Now upstairs, this is where Naruto heads into deep sleep, but this is where he wakes up. Well, this is where he's pretty much in, in the seal now, and this is where he sees Kurama. Now this is where Kurama is locked down, and the nails is like in his hands and stuff, and he can't do anything. This is where Naruto is not freaked out and says, "Who are you?" Which this is where Kurama explains who he is and stuff, and he's a Nine-Tailed Shinchuriki, and that he was sealed inside in him. And Naruto says, "Oh, so that's why people call me the Nine-Tails, like a Nine-Tailed demon and stuff." So what actually happened? Which this is where Kurama is not saying anything. This is where Naruto pretty much um forces his will on Kurama and says, "Tell me now. Why do they call me that?" Which this is where Kurama explains why he's been called that, which the Nine Tails attack, and he explains that he was controlled by someone. Which Naruto says, "By who?" Which Kurama explains it says that he doesn't know who, but it was a masked man who had a Sharingan. Which this is where Kurama also explained that that's why his mother died, because of that masked man. Which this is where Naruto controls his emotions, but he's pissed off and saying, "So who is the masked man who killed my mom?" Which Kurama says he doesn't know, but he is a Uchiha. Which this is where Naruto will thinks about it and says, "I know it's not none of the Uchihas in the village, so it has to be a rogue Uchiha or a Uchiha that wanted vengeance on my family." Which this is where Naruto's thinking. This is where Naruto says, "Okay, thank you for telling me." Which this is where Naruto asks him, what does he want him to do for him? Which Kurama says, "Well, for one thing, I want these nails out my hands, and these nails off me. It's quite painful." Which Naruto says, "Okay." And pretty much Naruto snaps his finger, and they pretty much go away. Which Kurama says, "That's much better." And can I also, which Naruto says, "Wait, wait, wait, wait. What's in it for me?" Which Naruto's basically saying that to Kurama. Which Kurama says, "What do you want, kid?" Which this is where Naruto says, "Well, for one thing, I want some of your chakra. I heard that the Nine-Tailed Shinchuriki, I heard that Nine-Tailed Shinchuriki has pretty powerful chakra. And I heard you're the strongest out of all your tail beasts, out of all your brother and sisters. And also I also want to know where they all at, so I can pretty much have them for myself." Which this is where Kurama first says he doesn't know where his brother's and sisters at, but he also but he will let him know where they can all be at. But he did says that they're all at different villages, which Naruto heard about it too, and says, okay. But this is where Kurama says he will give him his chakra wherever he needs it. And Naruto, thanks Kurama, and also says that what is the second one you want? Which this is where Kurama says he want bigger space because this is too tight. Which Naruto says, all right. Which Naruto has been doing research on the seal and pretty much says he will make the seal a little bit more released so he can have a little bit more space. Which Kurama agrees upon, and yeah, and Naruto says he will be going in. Pretty much, Naruto wakes up to the next day. Now, this is where we're going to get to the bell test, and then we're going to see how far we can go else. This is where Naruto pretty much heading to the field, and Sasuke and Sakura is already there, which Naruto's there too, and Naruto's pretty much eating food while he's walking, which Sakura is saying that, and Kakashi said we're not supposed to eat, which this is where Naruto says if you don't eat, you're pretty much going to be too weak to pretty much fight him and get prepared. Which Naruto pretty much brings out the other food for Sakura and Sasuke, and they pretty much eat with Naruto so they can get their full strength. Now this is where Kakashi, of course, as usual, Canon comes late, pretty much saying he's sorry he got late. He lost in the way of life, which Naruto pretty much does a little laugh and says, "It's all right, it's fine. I came in a little bit late myself too," which Kakashi says, "Alright, shall we get started?" Which this is where they go out to the field. This is where Kakashi explained the bell test, saying that they have to get the bells from him and they pass, which pretty much, of course, Sasuke says there's only two bells, which Kakashi explains that one of them will be getting sent back, which they're all shocked, except for Naruto, because, like I said, Naruto's had been doing his research since he's intelligent now, and he knows that the bell test is about using teamwork, which he's not even flinched by it. Which Kakashi noticed it, but he doesn't pay too mind of it. But he does notice it. Now, this is where Kakashi says, 3, 2, 1, go, and they all scatter. Now, this is where Naruto pretty much scatters in the bushes, but this is where he creates multiple clones for reasons. I'll tell you later. Now, this is where two of the clones, one heads to Sakura, pretty much telling Sakura of the plan, and the other one heads to Sasuke, which Sasuke, of course, is listening to Naruto and explains what's the plan. Now, this is where Naruto's first clone heads out, and pretty much this is where Naruto starts walking very slowly and saying, "I'm going to beat you by myself," which Kakashi says, they never learn. Which this is where Naruto first clone charges at Kakashi and pretty much trying to fight him, which Kakashi doesn't, be phased and just kicks Naruto's clone, making it disperse. Which Kakashi says, it's a clone. Okay. Now this is where Naruto, two other clones, heads out and starts charging at Kakashi, which Kakashi, of course, disperse both of them without, unreading his book. Which this is where Naruto sends out multiple more clones. And keep in mind, Naruto has an infinite amount of chakra, so at that point, he can just make millions and millions and tire out Kakashi. But he's testing out what Kakashi has, like what cards he has. This is where Naruto pretty much uses wind style, wind bullets, and shoot wind bullets at Kakashi, which Kakashi dodges him. And Kakashi jumps and pretty much uses fire style, puts his book away and shoots fire style, uh, fireball jutsu at one of the clones, which pretty much this is where at multiple of the clones, which Naruto says, okay, he has fire elemental, which this is where as the thing goes on, the fight prolongs. This is where Kakashi shows out another style, which this is where Naruto try to do a cheat, try to test like how far can he do stuff. And this is where the same happens as Rurouni Canon, which Kakashi does the 1,000 Years of Death on Naruto, but on Naruto's clone, which it dispersed with Kakashi saying another clone. This is where pretty much Naruto, one of the Naruto's clones, grabs Kakashi's legs from underground. And pretty much this is where Sakura comes from underground and does an uppercut on Kakashi, uppercutting him, which Kakashi says, uppercut, which this is where Kakashi is like, shocked and trying to keep his composure and trying to, focus until Sasuke comes out the bushes and shoot fire like three fireballs at Kakashi, which he has his Tomoe Sharingan out, firing three fireballs at Kakashi, which Kakashi dodges one of them, dodges like two of them, but get hit by the third one. Now, as Kakashi gets hit by it, he pretty much gets back up, and now he's like pissed off and serious. This is where Kakashi gets serious and lift up his eyes, showing a Sharingan, the three Tomoe Sharingan, which Sasuke looks and he immediately gets pissed off and says, "Why does he have the Sharingan?" Which this is where Sasuke acts recklessly and charges at Kakashi. This is where Naruto is trying to stop Sasuke, but it's no point, and he pretty much charges at Sasuke. But pretty much Sasuke gets overpowered and outmatched because we all know Kakashi, and pretty much gets sent flying to the water. Now, as that's happening, this is where Sakura pretty much get caught in Kakashi's genjutsu and pretty much gets knocked out. And this is where it's Kakashi and Naruto. Now, this is where Naruto's pretty much saying, I thought that plan would really work, and we was really using good teamwork. Alright, look like it's gonna be me to pretty much take those belts from you. Which Kakashi's pretty much saying, and what are you gonna do? Kakashi's pretty much saying, okay, let's see you try. This is where Naruto pretty much lifts out his hand and pretty much does universe pull, pulling Kakashi with great speed, which Kakashi doesn't even know what's going on. And pretty much Naruto grabs the bells from Kakashi, and then he does the almighty push, pretty much pushing Kakashi away from him, sending him to a tree, crashing to a tree. This is where Kakashi's about to get up until Naruto pretty much has his clones appear right beside Kakashi, and pretty much Naruto begins to drain his chakra from him, so Kakashi can't do anything. This is where the clones pretty much let Kakashi go, and Kakashi's at the point of like he has no more chakra, and he can't, it's not the point of he dies of chakra, of, no chakra, he just has no chakra to do anything. He's just too tired now. Which Naruto says, look like I win, Kakashi. Did we pass? Which Kakashi is tired of saying, y'all pass. Which, Naruto's excited, but he looks around pretty much seeing Sasuke is, getting out the water now, and Sakura's knocked down, and he says, well, we need to work on our teamwork a little bit more. But, yeah, I'm glad we passed, Now, this is part one of what if Naruto was the new god of chaos. If y'all like, let's just get this up to 50 likes and I do another part. This is the 7,000 subscriber special. I'm very happy that we reached this goal, and I hope that we can reach up to 10,000 subscribers. But I'm Keyshawn Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.